Hey everyone, my name is Zach. I'm a 23-year-old competitive boulderer from Canada, currently living in Montreal. Welcome back to the COMPCLIMB training series, where I record most of my training, provide in-depth analysis of every session, and just chat about climbing with an emphasis on competition. So hello, jumping into today's day of training, the first thing that I should say is that I just had a rest week. As you can see by this little highlight of the program, I just took a 5-day rest week, which wasn't originally in the plan. So I had a rest week scheduled for, I think it was going to be in about a week and a half. But the reason I decided to take it immediately after the Bloc Championships, which was the most recent time that I was climbing, was mostly because of the skin, actually. The skin was definitely really pink after the Bloc comp. I was surprised, though, to make it out with a lot more skin than I had envisioned. I didn't actually draw blood, which is kind of like crazy to me. I can't believe that happened. For those who missed the last couple episodes from the Bloc comp, you should go check them out. The Bloc 2 new gym was having their grand opening with the competition, and they were only using brand new holds. And that's why I'm surprised that after 3 rounds, I wasn't actually bleeding. And I think it definitely came down to the skin tactics. Like for the whole competition, Maddie and I were very deliberate with our skin management. And I made it out with no blood, but it was still really pink. And so what I said to myself was, okay, I'm gonna take a rest week around this time. Like I said, the plan was initially to do it in like a week from now, but in the grand scheme of things, the timing of the rest week doesn't make that big of a difference. And I am basically getting more value from this training month because I am moving the rest week to a point where my skin could really use the healing. So now I don't have to train on like really pink tips for a week. So just moving the rest week like that kind of enhanced the training month like this, right? So yeah, it was kind of a no-brainer. We moved the rest week to right after the Bloc comp. And now what that means is the schedule. So yeah, we just took our 5-day rest week, and now we have like 4 weeks of training straight until the Pan Am Championships. And yeah, usually I like to put a target competition at about 2.5 to 3 weeks after a rest week. So 4 weeks is a little bit long for me. Like that's the one downside, is I might be getting a little bit tired after 4 weeks of training straight without a rest week. And of course, we don't want to be tired when the comp rolls around, Pan Ams. So what I did is I just played around with the program a little bit, added in a 2-day rest week somewhere in there, and also made sure the tapering was a little bit extra light, just so we still are fresh by the time Pan Am rolls around. And yeah, basically I edited the training to make sure that I wasn't going to be tired at the end of the 4 weeks. But anyway, here we are climbing at Beta Bloc. It has been a long time since we've climbed at Beta Bloc. I don't even remember the last session because of course Maddie and I were gone for a month. So yeah, Beta Bloc, man, every time I come here, so much fun. The setting is so awesome. And so it was kind of a risky choice, to pick Beta Bloc today for the session, because this gym is also known for having a lot of very hard boulders, and that may be not optimal for the first day on after 5 days off. Normally I'll try to pick like a softer gym to do my first day on after rest week, but I thought to myself, well, it's actually been a while since I've had a rest week or I didn't fly to Europe or something. It's actually been like the past couple rest weeks, we have been like traveling to Europe or doing some crazy travel. Like literally, I think the past 3 rest weeks I've been switching time zones in the middle of it, which makes it extra hard to come back after, you know? But anyway, this rest week, I didn't. I just had 5 days at home, no time zone shift, no traveling. It was just purely resting, which was kind of awesome and not something I'm used to. So I thought to myself, maybe I would actually I'd actually be nicely rested. And so I said, I'll come to beta block, and hopefully this day will be a little bit better than day ones are normally after a 5-day rest week. And it did prove to be the case. I was definitely feeling the rust in this first morning session here. Hands hurting, fingers hurting, joints hurting, nothing new. It's pretty much the usual with the first day after rest week, but I found myself getting into the groove much faster than I would if I had traveled within the rest week. So you'll notice in this morning session, we're sticking to mostly some slab boulders and some coordination boulders, trying not to get on the most physically intense grip strength kind of boulders, just because that's what's lacking for me in the session. And this is also playing off of the idea that we were talking about in the last COMPCLIMB episode, where we were training at Bloc Shop and Alley Up. And I think the theme of that episode, I was talking about like scaling your sessions to the climber that you are on that day. And I was able to do that successfully in this morning session as well. I could tell that the climber I was in this session was not a very strong and powerful climber necessarily, but I could flow on the wall, I could move on the wall. So we're doing some movement-based boulders. And, it wouldn't make sense for me to go try and force like a really powerful grip strength boulder right now, because that would just be a bad time. So let's prioritize what we can actually do, is the idea. So anyway, we're getting back on this black boulder that we were trying earlier in the session, and I wanted to work on this one. You'll see we've been trying it quite a bit now. For this first move in particular, we realized at the Rose Block Championships that this move is still a good weakness of mine, this toe catch move. Now, this one though was quite a bit easier than the one in the qualifiers of the Rose Block Championship, just because the toe hook was so much better. But anyway, the crux of this one was definitely matching the finish. I was actually trying to do a knee bar on the volume near my right knee for like a bunch of tries, because I thought that I was too weak in this morning session to just pinch that slopey finish hold and match it. But as the session was going on, like I was talking about earlier, I was getting more into the groove and a bit of the strength was coming back faster than it usually does. And then by the end of the session, I actually felt quite a bit better than I did from the beginning. And I was actually able to pinch that finish hold and match it without the knee bar. Whereas in the beginning of the session, it felt like there was no chance and I needed to find some sort of knee bar. But yeah, anyway, now we're moving into the second session. I did the first session around 10 a.m. and this session we're doing around 3 p.m. And so I had a good amount of rest, and I was hoping to definitely feel stronger than the morning session, because that's usually how it'll go for me. I can have leaps and bounds in terms of how I'm feeling, even in the same day, from session 1 to session 2. And I definitely felt better. Maybe not leaps and bounds better, but definitely a lot better, so we could actually try some hard boulders, including this one. And before we jump on this one, let's talk about the tip of the day really quick. So today's tip of the day is the idea of trying the second half of a long, pumpy looking boulder before you actually even put a ground attempt on. And we shouldn't always do this for the sake of trying to flash boulders, but when we're trying to optimize for the physicality of a session, by running the ending of a boulder, or like the second half before you actually put a ground try on, will give you some nice muscle memory and you'll learn the ending moves of a boulder. So that way, if you were to put a few ground tries on, and then let's say on your third try, you make it through the first hard moves and you get to the end and you really start pumping out while you're trying hard. Now, all of a sudden you just pumped yourself out eternally, and it's really hard to continue with the session and de-pump, especially if you keep trying that boulder from the beginning. So by having the muscle memory for the ending already in your system, by the time you get up there from the beginning of the boulder, it's going to be less physically difficult for you to execute the ending because you have the muscle memory. What this will do is it will help you not pump out and kind of have the whole session flow better, and you won't have to be dealing with pump for the whole rest of your session. But like I said, don't always do this because flashing boulders is good training too. But if you are having a session where you want to optimize more physically, definitely give this a try. So yeah, this session, I was feeling way better in the morning, but I wasn't feeling the most awesome. So that's why I'm utilizing this tip of the day, and I'm actually trying the ending of this boulder before I've even tried it from the ground. And this is just because while I'm not feeling at my 100% strength, I'm much more susceptible to becoming really, really pumped and getting flash pumped. And little spoiler alert, we're gonna make it through the beginning of this boulder and like do it to the top. And when I got up to the ending sequence from the first time making it through the beginning, exactly what I'm saying, I'm not feeling the strongest. So I immediately found myself pumping out like hard. And so I was kind of saying, wow, like while I'm climbing, I'm thinking, thank goodness I tried the ending of this boulder, because even with the muscle memory, I was barely moving through the holds. And yeah, the reason that this is okay to do on today's day of training is because, you know, it's not a performance session by any means. You know, this is our first day after rest week. So I'm just trying to get back into the groove of things, trying to get the body feeling physically good again. So that's why I'm using this training tactic, right? By making sure that I don't get really pumped. But this is definitely not something I'm going to be trying to do when we're in a performance mode, or like even when I'm just feeling really physically good. Trying to flash boulders is of course a very valuable skill as a comp climber. So, you know, running the ending of a boulder before you try it from the start is quite counterintuitive. So I only do this when I absolutely need to because I'm feeling bad or something, and I just don't want to get really, really pumped for the end of the session. But anyway, let's stop talking about that and start talking about this really freaking epic boulder that we are trying right now. So this thing is taking the final boulder of the Rose Block event even further. So, of course, they had a big setting for the Rose Block Championship, but I think the core idea of that 360 paddle campus move was created by Chris from Rose Block and Victor, the head setter here at Beta Block. And so clearly this is the practice that Victor was having with this move before setting for the Rose Block Championship. And yeah, him and Chris kind of put their minds together in order to make this move happen during the event. Now, that being said, this one is way harder than the one that happened during the event. And you can see here I'm getting really close, but just came up short. This one is definitely the hardest of the three of this move that we have tried. We did one at Rose Block, like in training, and then we did the one in the comp. And now this one takes it to like another level. And I think there are actually 6 moves in order to complete this one. We jump up to the start is 1, then we go right hand 2, left hand match 3, right hand again 4, spin around left to the Gaston 5, and then of course the final hand with the right is 6. So the fact that we are bouldering has come to the point where we're doing a 6-move paddle campus 360 craziness is insane. That move is, you know, the brainchild of Victor, absolutely insane. And yeah, it's cool to see the Montreal setters like having their own spin on these new and cutting edge moves, and then putting their brains together during like a competition, like manifesting in that final boulder at Rose Block. But anyway, I hope I see this 360 campus paddle in an important competition sometime, because I've had a lot of practice with it now, and I think I actually understand the move quite decently. Yeah, and that one, that boulder, like this variation of it, the white one, might be the most epic move I've ever done. Like the most fun and most satisfying to execute. It was so sick, and your mind has to process so many things. I've never had to think so many steps ahead in a move. And yeah, that one was super sick. So shout out to Victor for setting that. I'm like 99% sure Victor set this move at Beta Block. I didn't actually confirm it with him yet, but like I said, I'm 99% sure. But yeah, luckily I was feeling quite a bit better for this second session, so I could try that one, because while it was really coordinative, of course, you actually had to be feeling quite strong to hold on to those first few slopers, because they were quite bad. And then, yeah, we're wrapping up this session with a couple good slabs. And since these first couple days of training are more to get the body like acclimated, we're starting the training program for Pan Ams today. But these first couple days are more so to get acclimated. So basically, I'm going to do a boulder session tomorrow, which usually we wouldn't be doing tomorrow. Just kind of like a variety volume session. So I'll probably come back to beta block because there are a couple other boulders that I didn't get on, and just kind of have some fun with these first couple days of training before we really start grinding it out. And the training is going to be intense, and we're going to be doing a lot of spray wall training and a lot of physically intense training. But for these first couple days, we're just trying to get moving on the wall and get a lot of climbs in so that we feel good. But yeah, let's jump into the next day of training at beta block and see what we get on. So here we are back at beta block the next day, and I was feeling pretty sore when I woke up. I'll usually feel pretty sore the first time climbing back after rest week because my body's kind of shocked, but it was strange. I was feeling super sore, but also quite strong. I was feeling even better than I was in the second session yesterday, which is not the most typical. I can often feel good on day 2, but usually not better than the first day, session 2. So anyway, it was cool. We had some extra power to play with today, which was going to come in handy because I wanted to try some particularly hard boulders today, including this one, which we've tried a couple times in this video already, actually. And this one is a 6.2, but honestly proved to be harder for me than even a couple of the 6.3s. This one, I was really struggling with the crimps at the end here. But check out this left toe hook. I finally realized that I'd never actually tried this, and it helped me hold on to these super slopey crimps. But yeah, that 6.2 was definitely a hard one, and it was cool to get a nice day flash of it after really struggling with it yesterday. And then now this boulder we're looking at is the one I had my sights on. So we've taken down 2 of the 6.3s up in the gym right now, and this is the last one. And it is very infrequent. In fact, maybe it's only been once that I've had all the 6.3s in the gym at beta block done at one time. So we had a special challenge for this session, but this one was definitely going to be no easy feat because this is a boulder that's, I'd say, my weakness style, kind of just friction-based sloper boulders. But after feeling a few of the moves, I actually thought that I liked my chances on it, particularly because I found that helpful knee bar, which I'm not sure if that was by design or not. But anyway, you'll notice I did what we were talking about earlier in the episode. I ran the ending so that I would avoid getting super pumped out. And again, like, this is still only day 2 back after rest week, so I'm not trying to go too much into performance mode. So I'm not necessarily trying to flash this boulder or do it super fast. I'm just trying to still keep climbing and get my body used to moving. But anyway, let's break this boulder down. So this move up to the pretty good right hand flat hold proved to be the crux of the boulder, which I was surprised by. When I was looking at this boulder, I didn't think that move was going to be so bad. But the hard part about it is actually this foot stab I'm trying to land with the right foot. This higher circle sloper is very shallow. So the lower one is a lot better actually than the higher one. It sticks out quite a bit and I can really step on it nicely. But the higher circle is very shallow and makes it difficult to stop the swing. But anyway, I want to make sure that I have the last sequence down packed before I try to really start sending this thing. And this last move is really difficult. The finished crimp is pretty decent. It's a little bit in cut, but the second last hold is so bad. I almost feel like I'm generating all of my power and dynamic movement from the knee bar, actually, for that last move, which is really, really interesting. But yeah, anyway, after realizing just how hard this middle move up to the right hand is, I know that as soon as I stick this hold, I'm going to have to make it count because I can tell that the move is really low percentage. So anyway, on this attempt, I was going to go for the foot stab beta again, but I tried to slow it down as much as possible. And I slowed it down to the point where I was actually able to keep my foot low, which was really, really helpful. And then I started getting a little nervous because I wanted to send this super epic boulder, and I tried so hard at the finish of that one, and I was staring that finish hold down saying, if I get my fingers on that, I'm just not going to let go. And I had a pretty heroic one-arm catch on that finish. And that boulder was I was in the flow state on that send attempt, and I was trying really hard. I was actually really, really satisfied with myself after finishing that one. It's a nice little high you get when you can tell you've sent something that was at your limit. So that was cool. And that boulder was super fire. So I accomplished a rare feat, which maybe is only the second time. We managed to conquer all of the 6.3s at Beta Bloc, and almost all of the boulders as well. There was one 6.2 with a hand jam that I actually didn't see until I finished the session, which was unfortunate because I was just talking about recently how I need to practice hand jamming, especially, actually, I don't know if I was talking about this in a comp climb. I might have been having a conversation with someone, but I was saying that I really need to practice hand jams because I want to be one of the few climbers that can do the hand jam when it appears in a boulder round. And yeah, I missed an opportunity today, actually. I was too tired at the end of this bouldering session to try and extend it and hop on the hand jam boulder. It was in the cave, that's why I missed it. But anyway, this slab here was also going to be a high priority boulder for this session because I could tell it looked really, really good, and it proved to be the case. This move in particular here, this cross through unwind move, is also a move I'm usually bad at, so I was very happy to do this move on this boulder today, and it felt very difficult. Often when we watch slab climbing, it's hard to tell how hard it is sometimes because when you do a slab, usually you kind of make it look easy or you just fall. But I was trying really hard through that middle and beginning sequence in particular, trying to weight the feet so patiently and being so delicate. I was really also kind of in the flow state on this attempt too. I was having a good session this morning, and it was kind of cryptic here. I couldn't tell what to do at this end part, and so I do this super dynamic move to a little crimp, but I think I should have just kind of grabbed the slopey arete and reached up for that crimp a little bit slower. But yeah, I kind of had no fear on that attempt, which was cool. And then as the session is winding down, we're just going to find a couple moderates to finish off. I don't think we have maybe never gotten on a 4 circuit boulder in a Beta Bloc video yet. I think we always kind of stick to 5-1 and up, but this one looked a little bit tricky, especially for 4. And so we're going to hop on this black one, and it actually kind of has a really cool sequence here where we do this almost dynamic back flag step through. Maybe not by design. Maybe we were meant to do some sort of jump kick, but I felt like getting creative on this sequence. And I was going to call the session after this boulder. And I was walking to put my shoes away, and then I saw another boulder that I had almost missed. I really wasn't paying attention to the cave area at Beta Bloc today, but I almost missed a really cool looking 6.2, this blue thing here. And I could tell by looking at it, this move probably is another fancy Beta Bloc paddle move that we see so often. And it looked like the idea with this one was to go up left hand and then paddle the right hand down and under, and then go left hand again. As you can see, I'm attempting here, but it's a really crazy swing that you have to control. And so going into the next attempt, I'm thinking, okay, I need to control the left hand and the right hand a little bit more before I unwind for the next left hand. And that's what I'm trying to do on this attempt. And then I kind of accidentally just stay on the first 2 holds and don't need to do the full unwind. But anyway, that was a cool little move, and I'm glad that I caught this one at the last second. But yeah, if you can look at the right side of the screen with these big volumes in the roof, that's where the crack hand jam boulder was that I missed out on. But maybe this boulder will be up for a bit. Hopefully it is actually. And then the next time we'll come to beta block, I can get on it because I really want to have like a hand jam be my secret weapon. You know, I've always been one of the climbers that say, okay, hand jams, screw that. I don't want to practice that. Like, I'm annoyed that they're in boulder comps. I'm just gonna neglect them always. And then, you know, you have the people like Andra who can just do it easily, and they have this very easy advantage. And I kind of had a realization that, man, if I just practice hand jams and learn it, I could be one of these people. And so I need to do like some sort of hand jam masterclass soon or something. But anyway, we do a quick, easy little workout after this session. This isn't like one of the fancier workouts that we're going to start coming up soon. This one is just to get the muscles used to working out again. And then same thing with hangboard. I do a hangboard later in the day, but it's just kind of an easy hangboard routine. I'm not even starting my one arm hangs yet, just doing some 2 arm hangs to get the finger strength used to loading heavy weights before we really start training, just because we're coming off a rest week. And so I didn't film that, but we'll start filming the hangboard as we go forward with the new training. So that'll be exciting. But anyway, that wraps up a couple awesome days of training at Beta Block, and I will see you in the next one.